Good morning from beautiful Brisbane, Australia. My name's Linda and welcome. I'm a trauma recovery coach. I also have complex PTSD and am in recovery, so I understand what's happening for you, and I love to come on and help you with practical information. And this morning I want to talk about or share with you some really pertinent information around dissociation. I just want to bring this up for a sec. Now, we want to talk about our daily connection and how to connect daily. But first of all, I was down at gym this morning and I was thinking, how can I give you an actual visual of what dissociation is? So, stay with me. When we look at this egg, how many parts do you see that are to the egg? Okay, we only visualise one, but how many parts do you know that the egg has, just basically? So we'd say 3. So it's got the white, the yolk, and the shell. And it's whole. Even though it has 3 parts, it's whole. Now, when we feel inside of us and we feel the dissociation, we feel different parts, but we don't feel whole like the egg. But how we go about feeling whole isn't by dissecting the parts further and further, it's by building an awareness around connection and, sorry, I just want to turn this off, it's off, around connection or reconnection, and we want to build an awareness around values, around our values. Why do we want to do that? 2 reasons. Because we have an external dialogue, so it's the dialogue when we talk to other people. We have that conversation with them, but we also have an internal dialogue, and that's the conversation we have when we go away and we beat ourselves up for all the things that we should or shouldn't have said, okay? I don't actually do that anymore, and I only just realised that this morning when I was thinking about it, and I was thinking back to when I had all the different parts inside of me. Well, that's what it felt like for me. But back then I did used to go away, analyse the conversation, and then go, well, I should have said this, I should have done that. But what I realised this morning was, at that point in time with the dissociation, is that I wasn't aware that when I was having a conversation with someone, I wasn't just listening to what they were saying to me, I was automatically reading their body language, I was automatically seeing how they were feeling, even if they weren't expressing those emotions. So I want you to think of being empathic, alright? So all the empaths out there that have come through trauma, it's because in childhood we learned to sit back and observe people and observe what was happening for them internally in order that we were ready if we were going to go through a traumatic situation again. So one person actually put it like this. They were actually talking about me while I was standing right next to them, and they said, it's like she can see into your soul. And at the time, I didn't really think much of it, but when I was putting pieces together for you this morning, I went, oh yeah, that's what it is like. It's like I see what's happening underneath what you're telling me. And we develop that in childhood in order to try and keep ourselves safe or to prepare ourselves for what may or may not be coming, because we get so used to what the person's like, what they show on the outside, and what they actually are feeling on the inside, and then we are prepared for what comes next. And for me, because I had Asperger's as well, and I didn't know this till, a few years ago, it was like cataloguing all the patterns of people in my brain about what was happening and seeing what was happening. And I remember doing this at school too. And I didn't talk a lot, which is why being on screen 5 days a week is really odd for me, because I know that I've been an observer more than I've been an explainer in life. So with the dissociation, I want you to remember that when you are aware that you're disassociated, that there's more than one part happening, and what you need to do now is help each part of yourself internally become comfortable with each part of you. So you're not trying to dissect yourself any further. You don't need to do that. You just separated parts off. Well, we do. We separate parts off of ourselves to try and preserve really good parts of ourselves, okay? And how do we do that? How do we get that reconnection happening so that we're not having an internal dialogue and an external dialogue with other people? And how do we get that reconnection happening within ourselves so all the parts just come together without us, having to spend years in therapy, etc., etc. I'm not saying going to therapy is wrong at all. It's healthy, because it's healthy to talk this out and talk it through with someone. Complex PTSD is interpersonal trauma, so in order to recover, we need to do it interpersonally with healthy, safe people. So what we want to do is build an awareness around our values, okay, because our values impact our character as well. Now, we need to do this because we weren't shown a lot of healthy values in childhood, okay? And that's not to take away from the people that were there. They definitely did the best they could at the time with the information that they had. So what do we want to do? We want to build our awareness around values, and I want to take a look at some different values and whether they're external or internal, and they can be both. But what you want to be able to do, or what I certainly did, was begin to say, where is this value? Where am I showing this value externally, but I haven't built a deeper awareness internally? Or where is this value built into my awareness internally, and I haven't been able to express that value externally? So I'm not able to voice that this is my value. All right, so it is actually my highest value is honesty. So people can, around me, my close environment, know that they can be super honest with me, and that there's never a problem because we can always talk about it, no matter what. Even if the emotions go off the Richter scale into, cyberspace level of anger, we can always work through it together, no matter what. And then from there we can make decisions. But honesty is so important to me. So where am I able to express that? So I ask myself, am I able to express that? Am I able to relay that in a way that other people understand how important it is to me? And then what is my response if somebody else isn't honest? So do you understand that we have to build this awareness with the questions in order that we build a deeper, comfortable feeling in us that it's okay to have these values? So if we go down to the bottom and we look at some really deep values like forgiveness, justice, fairness, generosity, humility, faithfulness, serving, accountability, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control. When we look at, and look, just take one, work on one at a time. When we look at these values in a deeper sense, and I build these values into myself, so just say things are feeling out of whack internally when you dissociate, then I want to sit down and I want to say to myself, okay, what value do I need to build into myself a deeper awareness of? So as a parent, and your kids are arguing, then what do I want to feel, what value do I want to feel stronger in? And I want to feel that I'm able to be fair. I want to build that fairness, and I want to build that awareness around me as well. So remember, when we walk into a room and somebody's cranky, they don't have to say a word. So we're building the awareness into ourselves that I want to sit down with my kids I want to teach them how to be fair with each other, how to listen to each other, how to communicate around being fair with each other, and also that, you know, we can be different, but we're still going to build that value factor into it. And also, one of the values that I built into my kids as they were growing up were, no matter what happens, we're in this together and we love each other. Love doesn't mean that we have to like each other every moment of every day, but no matter what, it's that bond of love that is so deep within us that we will sit down and we will communicate things that are ticking us off. And I can tell you from experience that there are people in this world that don't have a deep value of love, all right, because they won't sit down and they won't face reality. People who dissociate we build an awareness of this deeper sense of love in us, and it actually brings together the different parts of us that were separate, or that have to be separate, or where we have a belief that I have to keep that part separate in order to be strong. So it's another good question, another healthy question to ask ourselves. Am I dissociating because there's a part of me I'm trying to keep safe, instead of building a deeper awareness of what my value is in this situation and how I want to express that value? So if I'm being challenged at work and I feel that I need to split off into my strength. So if we look at dissociation, it's at the time I felt, yes, triggered, but I had to go into the strength that I built as a childhood, in my childhood, because I had no language to comprehend it. Then I want to go and say, okay, what language do I need in this situation at work? What value do I want to build an awareness of within me and around me? And how do I want to express that? Now, for me, a lot of this goes down in my journaling time each night. So in one sense, it's like having a conversation with yourself, but you have the courage to ask questions about how do I want to be able to express this. One of the key things that, it's really crucial, is to develop a language around your emotions. If you're going to Google, itchy sinus, and type in emotions and then click on the images, you come up with lots of different images that have emotions, and there's an actual emotional wheel where you can pick an emotion and it splits it down and describes it even deeper. So this is what we want to do, is put language around our emotions, and then we want to build that, pick the value. Which value do I want to build into me an awareness of? Now, as we go through over time, and we're doing this, we're building a greater awareness of our values instead of the different parts. That value joins all the different parts together, bit by bit by bit by bit. That deeper sense of love joins them together, so the disassociation becomes less. So where my disassociation's up to today is that when I'm doing the trauma-informed movement, I have to be aware that if I'm tired, I will try and do it in the strength of just my mind instead of combining my body, breath and mind, all right? So I don't have those separate bits anymore, but I'm aware of the process that it took me to get to this stage. But I'm also aware of the habit that if I need strength and I'm tired, I can go into that strong place. And it is a really strong place. It's just the trouble is we lose time. We don't have access to our memory. It's so easy to forget things. And as we build a deeper awareness around our values, we also bring ourselves back into the present moment in a greater and greater capacity. So it is definitely worth doing it. I also wrote down 4 different values that we can look at externally and see them in other people, so that we also know, we get good examples of how to model them. And once we build an awareness around how to model them, we can also build the emotional awareness of strength within, instead of having to separate our mind and just, right, I've got to keep going, just be strong. Amen. So integrity, to act ethically, honestly, and with fairness. So as a parent, we aim to do this a lot. All right, we have a lot of integrity, because if we don't, our kids sure know, that's for sure. Respect, to listen, value, and acknowledge. And if you have complex PTSD and you're looking at going into a relationship, you want to know that that other person that you're going into a relationship has respect. So do they listen? Do they value? And do they acknowledge? And do they do it consistently? All right? But we want to build that into us as well. We want to build that awareness inside of us, and we want to be able to say, well, no, that's not happening for me in my life. All right? Not anymore. Courage, to lead, take responsibility, and question. So we need to exhibit courage every single day in order that we do go through recovery, we do progress, and it's healthy for us. Courage is something that we have in abundance already because of what we've had to come through. But then when we break it down into lead, take responsibility, and question, we go, right, these are the different facets. One of the things that, when I first started to learn it, was to question. It was like, wow, we're allowed to talk and have these conversations and ask questions. It was just mind-blowing, to be honest. It was like, I'm so into this. And now I love asking questions, and I love looking for answers. Excellence, to strive for excellence and distinction. Excellence is definitely different to perfection. Perfectionism is something that we developed in childhood in order to keep us safe. Excellent means I know that I'm doing well and I've done the best that I can at this time, and leave it. And there's a big difference. There's a whole lot of no more stress involved. I'm doing excellent. For where I'm at, I'm doing excellent. So when we see this in other people, we go, yeah. And it helps us become, how do you explain that word? It helps us feel more at ease with connecting with other people when we see their values too. Impact, to empower, enable, and inspire. So who around me is inspirational, and where are they exhibiting these parts that I can go, yeah, I want to do that too, and I want to build that awareness inside of me. For me, I have people that I know that are so inspirational, and because in childhood we develop this awareness to observe, then I observe and then I build that deeper awareness in me. And in doing so, we gain a lot of confidence from it as well. Okay, I hope that helps. I hope it gives you some strategies, and I hope that when you remember the egg, you remember that it's different parts together, combined together, that make something that's really strong and whole. So you don't have to ignore the different parts. You have to become comfortable in building values which will join the different parts together. Okay, thanks for joining in. I really appreciate you being here. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below, and I'm always happy to help out. Have a great day or a great evening, and I will see you for Friday tomorrow. All right, bye for now.